Welcome to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast, the podcast where we make 5-minute decisions that can change your business, your relationships, and your life. Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of ProSulam.com and FreedomIn5Minutes.com. And we're here with another Freedom in 5 Minutes episode. Today's topic is this. Don't underestimate the power of connections. That and more coming up. So, good morning. If you can't tell, I'm still in the city. All those cars behind me. I'm trying to find, as I'm doing this podcast, it's so nice when when I'm in the country and there's literally no sound whatsoever, so it sounds nice. So I'm not having to fight this traffic. So let me see if I can go into this area over here, which should be a little bit quieter. Anyway, whatever. So I had a couple of cool things happen the last couple of days that show the power of just making some kind of connection, okay? And the opportunity loss when you don't, or the opportunity cost, I should say. All right, cool. So I'm going to start speaking up the normal way. Okay, I think we're good over here. All right. Sorry. Whatever reason, I'm kind of nervous right now. It's kind of weird. Anyway, so so I just got finished right now doing my kind of morning routine and did some burpees. I need to go get my green smoothie. Got to do some other things like my love notes to my kids and my wife and so on. But just got finished with the majority of that. And the interesting thing was, especially this is pretty, I guess, normal for city folk, but toward the end, I was walking on the sidewalk and I had a jogger go by. He was an older guy, maybe looked probably around 60 something, jogging, looking directly at me as he's coming down, and then at the very end proceeds to, I say good morning, and he literally had nothing in his ears, nothing at all, looks away and says nothing. And I'm like, ooh, that kind of hurts, right? That literally just completely blows me off. And that's, I'm not going to lie, it hurts my ego. It probably hurt your ego and so on. Not that that's the reason why I'm bringing this up in the first place, but it was kind of the trigger. It was kind of the trigger that made me think about this and some of the things that have happened throughout the last few days. Well, so here's that guy who walks by, who, if you think about it, and it's not necessarily reality that this would actually happen, but if you think about it, how many opportunities are missed simply by not connecting with somebody for a minute or two? Not that I wanted the guy to stop, but obviously say, it'd be nice to say hi, but at the same time, when you think about it, think about all of the things, all of the times you could be missing a really, really good connection. A really, really good connection with somebody. That connection could be a friendship connection, a business connection, it could be a spiritual connection, and so on, simply by not engaging with the person. So on the flip side of this, yesterday I met with a friend that is visiting from Hawaii, who I also do some consulting with, And I met him through a mutual connection and decided to, because of that connection, we decided to talk a little bit more, and then ended up developing a great friendship. In fact, he's going to come and stay at our house later this week for a couple of days. And here's the thing, is that connection of friendship with him, not only, because I could have, at the time, I could have blown him off. Because he worked for a customer that I was doing some consulting work for, and he was essentially an employee. And I could have stuck my nose up at him and said, well, I'm Mr. Amazing Consultant here. They're paying me a lot of money to be here, and you are peon little employee. Peon little employee, and I shall just jog right past you as if you didn't exist. I could have done that. I could have totally done that, right? And there are a lot of people who probably would. But I make it a point, this is my 5-minute decision, I make it a point to always connect with just about everybody. If it's an organization that's, under 20 people, I'm going to make it a point to connect with just about everyone in that organization. Doesn't matter if they're the janitor. I literally will connect with the janitor, because you just don't know if that person, what if that person is a janitor because they had certain circumstances happen, but they actually have connections to a lot of other people. Not that you want to do this just so you can get business connections, but you never know, right? You never know. So it's important. Good morning, how's it going? So you never, ever know what it's going to lead to when you make these connections. So with this particular friend, he was working with this one financial services company, and it ended up being not just a friendship, because I could have blown him off, but I became friends not only with him but also with his entire family, and and now we're actually doing consulting together, because the guy is a genius with numbers, absolute genius with numbers. And because he's a genius with numbers, it actually helps me. We're a great duo when we're going into these different businesses and actually consulting with him, because he's great at looking at how, like, their current profitability and what certain things can change in order to become more profitable. I'm good at then setting up the infrastructure for it and getting virtual assistants going and so on. And so it works out really, really well. In fact, so yesterday we got out of a meeting with a client that we're working with. How's it going, man? Got out of a meeting with a client that we were working with, where we were essentially renegotiating a contract because they saw such massive gains just off of something that was only half of what they paid us for. So because of those gains, they wanted us to start doing some of the things that they weren't paying us for, that were kind of out of scope. So we had to renegotiate, and so we were in talks with that. So here is this guy who, if I did not make the connection, we would not be working on these high-level contracts that bring in, hundreds of thousands of dollars into both of our pockets. I could have literally just jogged right past him, stuck my nose in the air, said, "You are just a small little peon. Who are you?" When I, King Dean, am this high-level consultant. I literally would have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars working with him. Now, on top of that, he introduced me to somebody that is a perfect strategic partner for ProSulum's virtual assistant, the systems and process virtual assistants that we use there. And that literally just came because he had talked to somebody and was like, wow, this is great. And so he's also referring people for the virtual assistant side of things. This is where the topic of this podcast is so important. It literally takes less than 5 minutes to make a connection with people. This is why this is so important. It literally takes less than 5 minutes to find out who they are, what they do, where they live, what their family's like, and so on. And how many times do we literally fail to make these connections because of some stupid excuse? I'm jogging. I don't want to make a connection. I'm at a coffee shop and just ordering a latte. I don't need to talk to anybody. I don't want to go to that networking event. I don't want to go and reach out to somebody at a prospective agency that could be a potential client. I don't want to go talk to that person that I see at church every day that I just wave to. Find out what their name is and who they are. How many missed opportunities? I can tell you that the majority of my business has come from people who I just took the time to get to know. And that's it. I took the time to get to know. And they have brought me hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of business. So if you just want to be pragmatic, if you just want to be pragmatic and just follow the money, the more connections that you truly make, true connections, and true connections don't have to be super long. The more connections that you make, the more you're going to see success in business. And if you want, you'll see success in everything else as well. So what are you doing right now? How many connections have you made? How many connections have you made this week? And how many do you plan to make in the next few days? I just want you to try and make at least one connection this week with somebody. You might be at a Starbucks, you might be somewhere, but say hi, what their name is, what they do, where they're from, and so on. Yeah, sure, nobody does this anymore, especially in the city. Nobody does this. But that's what makes you different. That's what's going to bring massive results in less than 5 minutes. All right, this is Dean Soto, founder of ProSulum.com, ProSulum.com. If you want a systems and process virtual assistant that can take anything you're doing right now, you show them in 5 minutes how to do it. They will document it and then take it over so you never, ever have to do it again. Go to ProSulum.com, ProSulum.com. And you can check out freedomin5minutes.com and get on our mailing list and subscribe to the podcast as well. Once you're on the mailing list, you can subscribe in iTunes. All right. So all that being said, I will see you in the next Freedom in 5 Minutes episode.